0 to 10, a scale of 0 to 10, where do you rate your confidence? Where do you rate your confidence? Or here's a question. Have you ever been in a situation and just seen somebody and you're just crushing everything? Like, man, she's good at that. She's good at that. He's good at that. How are they good at everything? Here's the answer. Their confidence is on a million. Their confidence is on a million. All right, I'm going to teach you all today how to step your confidence up and improve your confidence. First of all, what is confidence? People throw this word around like, oh, confident, confident. Let's really break it down and think about this. When we're talking about confidence, we're talking about having a positive view on a future event, right? Having a positive view on a future event. So what does that mean? That means, hey, I've got a test next week. I'm going to get 100%. That's confidence. I have a future event, which is my test, and I have a positive view on it that I'm going to get 100. I've got a big game next week. What does that mean? Like what does confidence look like in that situation? My team is going to dominate. We are going to win. I'm going to have X amount of points, X amount of assists, X amount of rebounds, whatever. Positive views on future events. That's what I'm referring to when I'm talking about confidence. Let me go ahead and hit this record button, take some notes down here for you all. Hopefully we can get this uploaded along with the video, and do not make fun of the way I write, right? So we're going to talk about confidence today. Confidence. And, I like to teach with themes, okay? So the first theme, I don't like the way that looks. Let me back down the underline there. The first theme, the first letter, I'm using the letters P for this, right? So the first word with the letter P that I'm going to teach y'all about building confidence is proficiency. I'm going to break this one down into a couple things actually, but I think that's how you spell it. Proficiency. Look, there's no way around it. There is no way around it. At the end of the day, in order for you to be confident at something, you have to be proficient at something. I'm going to talk about this one a little bit later. It doesn't necessarily have to be that thing, but you have to be proficient at something. And for proficiency, I want to break it down into two parts. I've got a Bible verse that I'm going to talk about here as well too. But the first part with proficiency is purpose. Purpose. Have you ever noticed the people who are ultimately confident, like have the highest level of confidence, is they feel as though they have a purpose for something? Like, think about the greatest athletes, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, right? All these people, a lot of them, you would think, hey, their purpose was to play basketball. Now, I'm going to tell you this, as somebody who has, a belief, a biblical view on the world, I do my best to have that view. I don't believe your purpose necessarily was to play basketball. That's part of what they were here to do. But they approached the game of basketball as if that was their purpose and part in life, right? Part of their purpose. And because they had this idea, okay, this is my purpose, they were so passionate about it and they were so fully dedicated to it. And because they were so fully dedicated to it, what did they do? They practiced. They practice. Like Allen Iverson, practice. We're talking about practice. Yeah, AI, we're talking about practice, right? They practiced, right? And when you practice something over and over and over and over and over again, you're not just competent, you are proficient at it. And when you're so proficient, when you've gone over something so many times, when your skill level goes from here and jumps super sky high, your confidence jumps with it. Your confidence jumps with it. So if you want to be confident at something and have the highest level of confidence, you have to be proficient at it. You want to practice that thing and get so good at it that you feel like nobody can even touch you. And here's the deal about practice. Practice helps you build skill. Practice helps you build skill. So, people talk about the difference between skill and talent. They'll say talent is something that you have inherently. That's kind of part of your genetic makeup. You're born with it. You just kind of have it. Skill is more so something that you can work on, you can build. And if you practice and become proficient in your skill, I love this Bible verse. I want to read it to you. It's Proverbs 22:9. Proverbs 22:9 tells us this about people who are skilled. Do you see a skilled man? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand in the presence of kings. He will not stand in the presence of unknown men. Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand in the presence of kings. He will not stand in the presence of unknown men. I remember back when I lived in Durham, in North Carolina, and a guy was just helping me, Darius. I remember he told me that verse, and he was just telling me about how he saw my grind, how I was just working so hard. I was always doing something, staying up late at nights, always grinding to kind of get to that next level. I remember he told me this verse. He said, Dale, man, Proverbs 22:9, do you see a man skilled in his work? He'll stand in the presence of kings. And that just stuck with me. I remember just thinking, like, man, first of all, kind of what is he talking about in the presence of kings, skilled in his work, and just trying to make sense of all of it. And then I realized with time that all that work, all that practice I've been doing to become proficient at what I thought was part of my purpose, that really did put me in the presence of kings. And when I say kings, it put me in the presence of decision makers, people who could really pull strings, people who really impacted my life and other people's lives through me. And some big things have happened in my life because of that. It's because I became so skilled in my work by the practice. So to build your confidence, you absolutely must practice, practice, practice. I'm going to go Colossians. I won't jump to it in the Bible, so I might not say it exactly right. But Colossians 3:23 says something to the effect of work wholeheartedly as if you're working for the Lord and not for man, right? Don't criticize me. Dr. Dale, you said that wrong. I know I didn't get it exactly right. But something to the effect, the general idea is when you're doing your work, so when you're practicing, practice hard as if you're doing it for God and not for yourself, right? Practice hard like that as if you're doing it for God and not for other people. Because when you do that, when you're so dedicated to what you deem to be your purpose and you're passionate about it, you become more skilled. And as your skill increases, guess what else increases? Your confidence will increase with it, right? Your confidence will increase. Oh, that's the ugliest arrow up there. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Skill goes up, your confidence is gonna go up with it. Right. All right. So that's the first thing, right? Proficiency. And proficiency, to become proficient, you need to practice and you need to understand in part what you believe your purpose to be, right? Around whatever it is you're practicing. The second P for building confidence is this one is, I want you to think about this one, okay? You gotta think about this because this is one that people don't get. And this might be, I don't want to say it's the most important because we're all important, but this is up there, right? This is something that people just don't think about, right? It's your position. Your position. What do I mean? Oh, a point guard. No, I'm not talking about your sports position or whatever, your position of work. I'm talking about your position in relation to two things, okay? When you are building your confidence, your proficiency, that's great, right? You build a proficiency. However, you need to understand your position in two perspectives, right? The first is your authority. Your position and authority. This is where we have to humble ourselves and realize one simple thing, that God is greater, not even greater. God is way, way infinitely greater than me. God is infinitely greater than I am. Here's what this allows you to do. When you come to the position of understanding that, hey, God is in charge, God is greater than I am, that can take the pressure off my shoulders because I know God's got it. I know that at the end of the day, if something is successful, it's not because of me. It's not because of me. It's because of God, right? At the end of the day, I know that if something doesn't work, yeah, we take accountability for what we do, right? So I can fail. Yes, I can fail. God doesn't fail. I fail, right? But I do also understand that if I fail, the world's not going to come crashing down to an end, right? That God's got it. And when I understand my position in relation to God, what that then allows me to do is relax a little bit and be confident in who? I'm not confident in me. I am confident in God. I'm confident in God. And that's the huge thing about confidence, right? That's the biggest thing about confidence is, yes, I'm confident in what I can do. I'm trying to build it myself, but more so when I can come to this understanding that the confidence really is in the fact knowing that, hey, God is my safety net. God is there. God's got this. When I come to that final realization, oh my goodness, are you serious? When I'm thinking, wait, hold on, the work is really being done by God and not by me. Good things come through God. All good things come from the Father above. When I really come to that realization, man, talk about pressure being taken off your shoulder. Because again, you get to start to think about it. The world doesn't circulate, doesn't rotate around me, revolve around me. If I mess up, things will be okay, right? If I fail, things will still be okay. And that just takes the pressure off of me. Takes the pressure completely off of me, right? So that is the first part of position. Position yourself in relation to God, realizing that God is infinitely greater than you are. At the end of the day, God's got this. It's not Dale's got this. God's got this, right? That allows me to take the pressure off. That boosts my confidence because I can relax a little bit. That's the first thing. The second thing about position is position in relation to service. Excuse me, service. And this is when you need to consider others to be greater than me. Others to be greater than you, right? I was reading a book by Ken Blanchard and another individual. The book's called Lead Like Jesus. And in the book, he references the Bible passage. I don't know why I said I'm reading the book. I might as well just tell you about the Bible passage. But the Bible passage where Jesus is talking to his disciples, and Jesus says something to the effect of, again, it's not exact, but something to the effect of, you see the leaders of the Gentiles, they lord it over them. Not so with you. The greatest of you shall be the servant, right? The greatest shall be the least. This idea of whoever is the greatest among you will be the servant. Whoever's the greatest among you will be the servant. And what this does here, when you start thinking about, instead of having everything so focused on me, right? Instead of having that perspective on me, you want to put that focus on others. Put that focus on others, because when you start thinking, okay, my purpose, my mission out here is to make others better, to help others. When you start doing that, you're doing two things. Number one is, when you're doing that, you're building up that skill set again. You're building up your skill set. You're learning how to better help others, make others more successful, more effective, whatever it is, right? You're helping others. And when you help others win, guess what happens? Good things begin to happen to you. More people want you to help them win. Look, I mean, one of the things I do is I coach doctors and people in healthcare, and I help them write books. Here's a stack of some authors' books, right? So I coach doctors and people how to become authors so they can build their brands and go on to do things, right? And in doing that, the more I do it, the more I am focused on them. And we had a session last night, and I was telling them this exact thing. The more I focus on them and their successes, the more great things begin to happen for me. Like, not even trying, they just start happening for me. And as all this is going on, confidence, because I'm seeing that I can help others. I'm seeing those other people go off and do well. And when they're doing well, it's making me feel better. Like, wow, I can do it. I can help them. Confidence is about your contribution to the world, your contribution, right? So whenever you can do that and you see the successes, that helps build and boost your confidence, right? See if I can pull this verse up really quick. Psalm 138:3. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm having to squint a little bit here. But Psalm 138:3 says this. I actually made another little video about this morning. It says, "On the day I called you, you answered me. You increased strength within me." On the day I called you, you answered me. You increased strength within me. Other Bible versions might say, you emboldened me. I called you and you answered me. You emboldened me, right? That's amazing. Just think about this whole thing, right? And then this is going back to this idea of purpose and proficiency and really authority in God. On the day I called, you answered me. You emboldened me. So put God above yourself. Put others above you. When you position yourself rightly, your confidence goes up because the results will improve. The pressure comes off of you. I do not want you to overlook this idea of positioning yourself rightly. People think confidence is about, oh, I'm on top. I'm the biggest. I'm the best. Me. No, no. Yeah, that might work, on a certain level. That will get you, confidence, things of that sort. However, if you want to get a different type of confidence, I'm talking about a whole different type of confidence, right? Maybe it's confidence that Kobe and MJ didn't even quite hit, right? A whole different type of confidence. Position yourself rightly. And I'm not saying they didn't. They might have. I have no idea. I'm just using that as an example. Realize God is infinitely greater than you, and realize that in terms of service, put others above you. When you're in that position, it takes the pressure off of you and it lets you develop certain skill sets to boost your confidence. It's amazing. Try it. I'm telling you, try it. All right. And the third thing about building your confidence is you have to project. At the start of this video, earlier on, I mentioned this idea that people, in order to really become confident at something, you have to be proficient at it. However, that's not always the case, right? So here's the deal. Like, I bet you if Michael Jordan walks into this room right now and wants to play me cards, he's going to be confident he can win. I bet you Michael Jordan thinks that he can be a better doctor than I am if he practiced it. I bet you Michael Jordan thinks that he could be a better car salesman than the car salesman around the lot. I don't know Michael Jordan. I'm just saying these are things that I'm guessing, right? You project your confidence. And here's how it works. Once you see something you want to be great at and you work at it so hard, and you actually do get great at that thing, once you do that, what happens is you realize, hey, I know how to become great at something. And you take that thing that you've done and you can then project it and other things. So if I walk in somewhere, like, I'm not convinced, I'm not concerned, like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, I can do that if I want to. People are like, oh, he's arrogant. No, it's just because I have developed such a high proficiency, skill sets and confidence in this particular area that I learned the process of how to build confidence. People think, oh, you got confidence or you don't. No, there is a process to building confidence. And once you learn the process to build confidence, you can take it from this arena to this arena to that arena. And just because I don't necessarily display it in these other arenas doesn't mean that I don't still have that confidence, right? So that's what I mean when I say project it. Learn the process of how to build that confidence and then project it. So process, then you just project it to other arenas, to other areas, right? Learn the process and you project it. All right. And that can take your confidence out of just one small, tiny aspect of your life and just make you a confident person overall. A confident person overall. There was one last P that I had. I didn't put in here because I think it kind of aligned with position, but that last P is prayer. That last P is prayer. So for me, I found it to be extremely important in keeping my confidence to try to be in communication with God. And just sit down, you read your Bible, you pray, and try to be in communication with God. Because what that does is it gives you the time to really think about what God has for you in life. And again, I want you to understand this. I'm going to write it here. What God has for you is for you. Right. And when you really lock in on that concept, lock in on that idea, and you start going for what God has for you, you can build your confidence. I remember in the past, I'd be like, oh man, this person's trying to copy my ideas. And trust me, we did stuff that a lot of people started copying, stuff we used to do. This person's copying my ideas, copying my ideas. And then I stopped thinking, like, let them copy it. Let them copy it. First of all, the things I'm doing are about service to help other people. So sure, I want more of it out there. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is let them copy it, because what God has for me is for me and they can't have it, right? They're going to have what God has for them. That's perfectly fine. But what God has for me is for me. So I'm not worried about somebody taking it anymore. I used to freak out. Oh, what if they? They're not going to. They're not going to, because what God has is for me. All right. And when I realized that I want to constant prayer with God, okay, how do I achieve and get what you have for me? That builds my confidence. It's all about that positioning. All about that positioning. All right, so let's recap here. Confidence, how to build your confidence. Number one is proficiency. You need to become proficient at things. You need to practice these things. You need to understand the purpose, part of your purpose. I want to make it seem like that's your entire purpose, because God has called us for certain things, but you need to understand the purpose and you need to practice. Number two is appropriately position yourself. You are not God. God has got this, right? So position yourself, take that pressure, take that weight off your shoulder, relax and breathe. And number three, project the process you have learned. You've learned the process of building confidence. Once you learn that process, project it into other areas of your life so you can walk in confidence in those areas as well. All right, fam. I hope this made sense to you. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. All right. If you like the content, I'm doing my best I really study these things. I really live this, right? So people say he about that. I'm really about this life. Okay. I don't just come up here and start talking. I prepare for these things for you. I'm in the Bible. I'm thinking about the best things to make sure. I'm thinking about what I learned, how I do what I teach a whole bunch of doctors, healthcare folks about leadership, how they do it. Right. And I bring that to you all here. So go ahead and like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. I joke around a lot, but I really do appreciate it. And remember, you have permission to be great. Praying for you guys, and I love you.